Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Fran, with my amazing co-hosts, Michelle and Matthew, here today to talk about the Challenge USA Episode 5 in Tyson We Trust. Michelle, how are you doing today, and what are your overall thoughts of this episode?
I'm good. I thought it was a really good episode. It was exciting, and while we can say RIP to my draft team, I think that I really enjoyed it, and it was exciting, and it's going to lead towards lots of drama to come, which is always exciting to know.
So much drama.
Yeah, there's going to be so much drama next week. Like, oh my God, I'm excited, but I'm nervous, but I trust Tyson, and Tyson, I trust that he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. Of
course he's going to figure it out. And then Matthew, what are your overall thoughts, and how are you?
I'm good. I agree completely. I think we're going to get now what we wanted last week with Xavier and Shan not coming back into the house. I think with Sarah coming back into the house, it's going to lead to exactly what we're looking for. And I believe I saw the title of the next episode is Civil War.
That's pretty good.
Civil War.
Yeah.
How did you feel? So, spoiler alert, when Sarah and Leo win her fake fighting she said turkey leg.
I had to look away. I actually looked away. I find her so cringe, and that's what
she's insufferable. She's
insufferable. Yeah, it was cringy, and by the end I was like, I don't need to look at this, but I'm just gonna wait till the next on so that I could watch what's coming next. But watching her do that was so annoying. I'm like, you need to not, because what?
Why is she on my team?
And also, you voted Tyson off twice in one season. So for you to think that it's some sort of ethics, you blindsided him twice. So how is that any different?
And honestly, to me, it wasn't even just the reaction to winning. It was her attitude the whole episode, towards Leo. Her and Ben talking about Tyson and not really having a clue. I don't think they saw Tyson's seasons because they didn't seem to have a good sense of who Tyson is as a player. And just going at him, going at Leo, and then to cap it off, the reaction and the elimination. Just such a horrible episode for Sarah. And I'm sure she has a few fans out there, but I'm definitely not one of them.
Chris that I pod with on Fridays, he's a fan of Sarah and Ben. I'm just Chris, please stop choosing these people.
We'll get into it when we get to that point, but can we just clear the air that Sarah is the reason she went in. Sarah is the reason. Tyson wasn't necessarily gonna pull that cord at that time necessarily, but she went to all the girls and complained about Leo.
Yep.
Not realizing that obviously if they haven't partnered with him yet, I don't want to be Leo's partner. Okay, that's a reason.
Get rid of him. If he sucks, let's get rid of him.
Exactly, because the team that Azah and Cinco, they didn't say anyone that they wanted, so they had nothing else to go on besides okay, well, who do I not want to be partnered with? And obviously Tyson's yeah, okay, cool, because realistically, I can't trust Sarah down the road anyway because she screwed me over twice in one season. So,
well, I want to take a step backwards a bit since you just mentioned Cinco and Azah. Okay, I don't really understand what went on in the end of their relationship, but Cinco is saying things we can't tell Cash who we want because she might use it later because that's what she does. And I'm don't you want to try to save yourself from going home? Not giving her ammo for whatever you think that she would use it for is actually the dumbest thing that you could possibly do. And the fact that Azah just went along with it, I'm just wait, no, just be no, I don't want to go against so-and-so. I want to come back. So let's give me a person that I can come back with. I wish that he put whatever feelings he had for her aside and chose somebody, because maybe he wouldn't have chosen Sarah and Leo.
Yeah.
I was really annoyed though that they wouldn't give somebody. I'm that's not the game. You need to give a name.
I understand not giving someone that you want and thinking they're going to use that against you or whatever. But you saying I don't want to go against so-and-so it's actually like a compliment to those people. I don't want to go against them because I think they're strong. You could just say that. I think that team is super strong. I'd be a little nervous to go against them. And I guess maybe they thought if we tell them something we don't want, they'll purposely give that to us. So I guess so like maybe there could be that. But it's also like risky for the team throwing a team in to throw a super strong team in because they're more likely to come back. So it's a risk for them too. So you can find that common ground. Like there's always, you know, something, because the team throwing someone in, you want that team to go home. So you want the team that's already going in to feel confident to beat them.
Yeah. And you would think that he would be like, she still likes me, so she's going to want me to stay in the game. She's not going to try to sabotage me. At the very least, to keep her better in the game, having someone that most likely won't try to throw her in, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, you have to think that, and Cashay must have also been thinking, like, there's no way, even if we ended on bad terms, there's no way my ex-boyfriend is going to ever put me in jeopardy of going home, because he's just going to come off looking like a complete asshole if he does that. So I was surprised to see like him so hesitant to like ask for a bit of help there. And I mean,
maybe
at the end of the day,
pride thing, actually. Maybe it was more pride, like, oh, I don't want to let her know who I feel intimidated by, or who, you know what I mean? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, but it's just kind of weird because I mean, like, you have to imagine the teams that like Azah doesn't want to go against are going to be the big brother teams. So everyone knows that. It's not like there's much to hide. So it is a little weird. I don't know who they should have asked to go against. Like potentially Sarah and Leo is who they would have wanted to go against.
Maybe Derek and Cayla. I mean, I don't want them to go in against them, but like that could have been somebody that maybe they could have suggested.
That's who I thought was going to end up getting put into the elimination.
But then Cayla did some good work, though.
Yeah, she did. She did a good job.
She did.
Did some good work for the fact, just saying, just not even name dropping, but being like, you know, there's some people that are like annoyed that you keep winning. Does this name start with a B? Maybe. Like, it's so coy, and it's like perfect. We do have some friends joining us here today. Sophie feels this episode was perfect.
I think this is good. This is the best season, I think, since like War of the Worlds 1. And I don't think it's close.
You liked War of the Worlds 1?
The first.
I mean, I liked it. Yeah,
I think this is like every season since then has been kind of garbage. But this season has been hitting for me.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely hitting. Danita is here with us today, and she agrees with you, Michelle. She's nervous. Sarah was heated. I mean, it's going to be so annoying.
I mean,
the fight points.
The issue is that Sarah's now already had Leo. Like, she's had some medium partners. So do you think
her and Tyson are going to be together in the next episode?
I 100%.
Oh, I bet that will happen too.
I think that there's a good chance that the perfect algorithm will put her with Tyson next week, because what perfect, right? Because then she can't go against him. But in the next on clip, you heard her saying karma is sweet. So maybe she's just talking about winning, like the elimination. Or I was like, maybe she's talking about like she wins and she's going to throw him in, or maybe he loses. So I wasn't sure what, like, that clip could have been from anywhere. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think putting her and Tyson together. Yeah, putting her and Tyson together would be like hilarious.
Oh my God, I hope Cashay does not get Leo, though.
That's the problem. If Cashay gets Leo, she could likely get last place and then just lose. But I really love her. I'm loving her this season. And I was talking to a friend earlier today who has seen her season of Love Island, because I haven't, and she was giving me the lowdown on like her and Cinco, and how she was the star and how her journey and everything. And I was like, oh, no wonder. Like, that makes sense. So
their love story is pretty good. Not as good as Zimmy, but there's a pretty good love story. Are you watching this season, Michelle?
I'm not watching this season, no, but my friend is and was telling me I need to watch it. So
it's actually the best season for sure of Love Island, and I'm
not
super standing. Not even close for the other ones. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
right?
way better than the first 3.
So except for Sarah Hyland, sorry Sarah, but
she pops in once a week or once every couple of weeks, so I can live with her.
So Sophie says that she saw Tyson blindside coming from a mile away. How have they been built? They've been building it since day one. Yeah, absolutely. We knew that this was coming for sure in some capacity. The fact that Sarah and Ben are just like, ooh, just Survivor strong. When like it's like, you know, when you do someone dirty in these games, bygones aren't bygones. It just sits there. We just saw it happen with Alyssa. She couldn't let it go. She just needed to get them back. Like, Tyson's not gonna let it go. He's just gonna always want to get them back before they get him again. And so the fact that they were trusting him so much, it's just like,
and not only that, like, a week when she's with a weak partner is the week to throw Sarah in, because she is a strong competitor and he knows that. And so if he's going to throw her in, it might as well be this week. When else is he going to throw her in? And like, the person he was more annoyed at is Ben, but Ben being with Justine, he has a bond with Justine. He said this on the podcast that like after their partners, they continued that friendship, and she's strong. So Ben and Justine is like risky, way more risky to throw in. This seemed like a really smart idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think now is definitely the time. I mean, if you wait another week and she's partnered with Cinco or Kyland or whoever, I don't know.
Yeah, Kyland. Yeah, she hasn't been with Tyson or Kyland, so that's like 2 really good weeks.
Danny, has she been with Danny? She might have been with Danny.
She's been with Danny, I think. I have to double check, but I think she's been with Danny.
So definitely the people that she has left would be people that, you know, could take out Tyson. And so maybe that's what they're building us up for this next episode. Or maybe Tyson's able to smooth things over, because he is a smooth talker, and be like, it had nothing to do with you, Sarah. It had everything to do with Leo. You've been telling everybody that Leo is the worst partner. And and Cashay got really scared for the fact, you know, like, you might be able to play that off. They won't believe him, but it might help a little bit. Maybe.
I don't see it. Sarah seems like a hothead. I mean, we clearly saw today. She's a bit of a hothead, so
she's such an eye roll. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sure you have people that are your fans, but I'm just like, oh my God, totally my team is Hatable, Rootable for sure, because she's on the hateable side of things. Absolutely. Yes, Fernando, this was a crazy episode. It was really fun, though, to watch. Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. So what do you guys think? So I'm sure you have something to say, Matthew, about Shannon and Dom doing like sword sparring, fighting, epaying. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what I have to say is put Shannon on every season of The Challenge moving forward. Put her on every season of Love Island. Get her on Survivor. I just want her on every show that I watch. So
she is kind of fun.
She's really fun.
Maybe they'll get her more food.
She's not getting a lot of screen time the last couple of weeks, but it's like when she is on screen, it's always a serve for me. So it's like she can have 1 or 2 confessionals, have 1 scene per episode, and it's like that's all I really need from her. Just keep her in the game for as long as possible.
Are you upset that it's rumored that her and Josh are back together?
No, I'm happy for her. Good for them.
Oh wait, they broke up?
Shannon and Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little while ago.
So I never watched the season, but my friend, again, maybe she didn't know, I guess she told me about her story, how like the guy left and then she left with him and they were like so in love.
His sister passed
away. Yeah. And she was saying that like they were still together last she heard. So I guess they broke up.
This is recent. So within the last like month, like it's a pretty recent breakup.
So when she's on the show,
right before, right around when this aired,
I think it was maybe right after this was done filming.
Right. So
which was I guess like 6 months ago, maybe 5.
Oh, you think it was that long ago? I thought that they broke up. Did they just
I don't know.
Recently? I thought. Yeah, okay, so what I thought had happened was it was about a month ago that she decided they had a statement that was sent out and like, you know, we still best friends, still love each other, but like she is moving away from Florida back to Pennsylvania, and then they just broke up. So I feel like it was like week 1 of the challenge, so like a month ago.
Okay.
Like officially, and so, but I think that they're back together. That's what's been rumored since. So we liked that. I didn't understand it, but I'll go with you, Matthew, and enjoy anything that Shannon does because she's fun, definitely fun. So I'm like, oh boy, Cashay is featured heavily in this previously on. I'm like, oh boy, this is what's gonna happen here. I'm like, and the episode is Tyson, and everybody's been scaring me that like the last time when what was her name?
Tiffany
had her title. She went home and people were like, he's going home. Tyson's going home.
I know. I was scared.
So we see Tyson and Angela featured. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get some sort of resolution with what we saw in the supercut from the beginning, like preseason. So the perfect algorithm makes some pairs. So let's see what the perfect algorithm decided to put together. So Danny and Angela, strong. Derek and Cayla, two people that could potentially be on the outs, just depending on who wins power, but I like them both. David and Alyssa, that also could be a low-hanging fruit. Wait, why didn't they choose them?
So when they were deciding who was going in, I was thinking DX, Cayla, and David and Alyssa were like the easy targets.
Yeah.
And then Sarah, Leo is kind of the
Enzo, Kyra. I mean, Kyra, I guess, is Love Island. That's another one.
No, I honestly do believe if Sarah hadn't been complaining so much about Leo, that it could have been one of those other two groups. But I think maybe Alyssa had been partnered with Tyson, so he probably had a bond with her of some kind. And he knew she was someone maybe that was stronger and wanted to keep around for a bit. Then you also have the fact that David just went into an elimination, but I think they still would have thrown them in potentially. Like if Cinco and Azah had any strategic bone in their body, either of them, and had thought about these options and their odds, like I think it could have been something different.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have probably gone for David Alyssa.
That's what I would have done.
I don't think Tyson would have done that. I agree, but like that's what I would have asked for.
I probably would have asked for that, or what did you say the other combo was?
I think DX and Cayla.
DX and Cayla. I might have asked for DX and Cayla, but that is a risk if it's like a puzzle.
Yeah. I think DX and Cayla would have beat.
They would have beat
them.
There. Yeah, I think any team would have beat them. They really were not working well, and I don't think they ever would have figured it out. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh boy. We also have Kyland and Shannon, decently strong, potentially. Enzo and Kyra, as I said. Dom and Desi,
strong team. Well, like she's strong.
She's strong. I'm like, Dom.
For once,
we don't know yet.
He's happy.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Of course he's happy. He's a strong survivor person. Cinco and Azah, as we know, Ben and Justine, and Leo and Sarah. So there's a lot of strong teams. And I guess like with cutting out the people that are not great, like that has been their strategy. And I think it's been working. But Leo's doesn't really fit into that category. Leo, Enzo, David are all people that are probably going to go out next, I would hope and think. So Cayla and Derek are talking. I love that they're strategizing. I just prefer all the strategizers. You know, like I think Cinco, we hear that this is his dream to be on the challenge. And I think he goes in it like a what's his name? Pauly, you know, fifth sport type thing. And like I want him to come in like a competitive reality game show type player, because it's not all about the muscles. You need a little bit more.
No, and he truly even, I feel for him and I wanted him to make it further. I wanted to see more from him, but you've got to put your game in your hands. And when you look at someone like James, in the short time he was on the show, every single week, whether he was in the last place or not, he was, what angle can I work? Cinco wasn't even thinking about. All he was saying was, "Don't say anything to Cash." That was his one strategy. So
that wasn't a strategy. That was like
it's exactly, and that's why at the end of the day, I can't support wanting him to do well this season because he hasn't shown me the strategy to be able to do that. So like, give me something.
I agree.
Yeah, I think TJ alluded before the season that like there was some like physically strong players that just were a bit of a flop. Cinco was really bad. I mean, he's like the stereotypical like strong alpha guy with not much brains to him. Not to be a dick.
Well, or like maybe he has brains, but he hasn't really figured out how to use it in the challenge.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, like. Not to say he's not a smart guy in real life, but like there's a difference between that and like being a strategically smart player, where he's certainly not that. So
yeah.
Well, he needs to have some like tutelage of like Wes, because he's a Sagittarius, Michelle, and so like he just needed to have somebody, either a Wes type person to teach him how to play the game, or somebody or an air sign, so that would like show him how to like strategize and think that way. But the people that he's kind of aligned with are all not compatible in that kind of way. So Cashay, she's a Capricorn, so not going to be strategically, being able to meld together. Even Azah. Oh, Azah's another Sagittarius.
Oh.
I forgot. Never mind. Cancel everything that I just said. But we know that Azah didn't want to strategize in her season. So
yeah.
Danita says Cinco was his own demise in this episode because he should have gave a name. Azah seemed like she wanted to say a name, but his ego caused them to miss out on it. Yes, possibly taking out the Alyssa and David, who had money.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
They both had money. And they both would have been able to qualify if they had beat them, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And I honestly think that they wouldn't have thought the way that Sarah or the way that Leo thought strategically for the elimination. They could have sent Alyssa and David packing. And that's another guy that you don't want to be partnered with for a challenge. But the way the episode went, because it was so swimming focused, David wasn't good either, but he wasn't as god-awful as Leo and Enzo and whatever. So, it was overshadowed. And because David is so forgettable, I think people are just forgetting about him as an option. Because, like, why hasn't he been thrown in? He hasn't been thrown in unless it's just like no one's even thinking
He's just
about
like
him.
invisible. He just like
he's
blends
totally
into,
invisible.
Like, the furniture.
Yeah.
He's getting the purple edit, the purple Kelly edit.
Yeah.
So Ben braiding Sarah's hair. Why is this the duo that I can't stand? I'm sorry. It's just like, I didn't like them on Winners at War. I was just like, I couldn't stand them.
Come on. We do not. No. And not even Winners at War. Even her first season and even Game Changers. I was like, oh.
You didn't like Ben Bombs?
Ben is my least favorite Survivor winner, and it's not even close.
He's one of my least favorite. He's one of my least favorite. And like, yeah, his ego, the way he spoke to people, like all of it. Yeah. He's definitely in like my top 5 least favorite Survivor winners.
Who else?
Sure.
Can you think of someone else that you are least favored off the top of your head?
Well, definitely. See, I used to say Wendell just because I thought I hated the way he won.
Right.
How it was a tie, and it was like I just thought that was so.
But
stupid.
now, though, I'm realizing though that Dom might have just not been nice to Laurel. And like, you could be like, fuck you, I'm not giving you the win. Like, I don't like you. And like, I'm wondering now if that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah. And Sarah, I feel similarly. I was annoyed by her win. Although, she obviously
you don't like Cops or Us?
Right? Like, it's like, ugh.
To me, it's like Ben and Chris Underwood. Like, that's the bottom two.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
That season, I was furious. I nearly like kicked my TV.
I don't even know if I finished watching it because I was so mad. Like, I knew it was gonna happen.
I don't know if I told you guys this story before, but when that happened that season, I like had watched it and I was already annoyed that he got back in the game and he was doing all this stuff. And I was watching it using Cody. So I was like mirroring onto my TV, but watching Cody where you had to just choose like a link to watch the episode. And so I chose like, I don't know, episode 15, which ended up being like the beginning of the reunion. And so I always see like, congratulations. Like, I just started with that. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch the last episode. Like, I didn't even bother. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Like, 11 days on Survivor and you get to come back and win. Like, what's happening here? But all the people voting were people that, I don't know. It was bad. Anyways, back to this episode though. His winning sucked. And also I didn't enjoy Mike Holloway's, unfortunately, as well. I remember not liking his season either. Okay, so wait, what am I talking about? Justine and Cinco about flirting. Why does he? I meant to say Cayla.
Yeah.
Not Cayla. Oh my God, Cashay. Sorry, I'm tired. My brain's not working. Did I say that wrong just about Justine, or was that
no?
Something that
it showed
Cashay was
clips of it showed clips of like him flirting with Justine, with Azah, with Tiffany. Like it showed a bunch of different people of like kind of flirting with him and stuff. As Cash is kind of talking and being like, "This bothers me." But I know that like I can't do anything about it, but it still bothers me and I'm uncomfortable.
And in the rumor mill, apparently Cashay unfollowed Justine. So people are kind of like, did something happen with them on the challenge or after the challenge or something? But I haven't seen that resolved yet. Like, I don't know what the outcome is there. Matthew, do you have any tea there?
No, but I did listen to Justine was on Tiffany's podcast, so maybe she got upset about that. Maybe she has a relationship with Tiffany, and
maybe
that's all I can think of. But I haven't heard anything other than me seeing her on the podcast.
So actually, while Ben was braiding Sarah's hair, we did get some confessionals of him talking about wanting to focus on his relationship with Tyson. And so, I mean, obviously that's important. If I had somebody that I like did dirty on my season, whether we patch things up or not, I would be like pandering that to them. I'd be like, get breakfast. Like I'd be strategizing with them all the time. Like I would just keep like working with them so they wouldn't really have a chance to like try to stab me in the back. Like I'd just have eyes on them. And so I thought they also didn't play the fact that they had a known enemy in their camp that they weren't keeping an eye on.
Exactly.
You know? It's just like, it's a bit late to be like, oh, I think I'm going to keep an eye on Tyson now. Like you've had weeks.
Yeah, but him doing stuff late in the game is kind of Ben's thing, right?
Oh my God. Don't
like
with me. Anyways,
him deciding to play like some game in like the last 2 days of Survivor. Anyway.
And so Tyson's obviously bitter still about like Sarah voting about, as you said, twice in Winners at War. Like, and Ben is also voted about, I believe, as well, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, both of them.
And I guess it was both the Winners at War because they were like super tight. He gave up his game for Sarah. Oh, I forgot. But he does want to pull in Ben, and that's at least what he's saying here. I think it's because he realized that Ben is strong, and maybe there's a potential that Ben and Justine being in a partnership, maybe they're going to win some power. So, yeah, like maybe it's time for you to pull in Ben here, especially since you have a good relationship with Justine. So, what am I talking about? You bamboozle me, you bamboozle me. Who said that? I don't remember now.
Yeah, that was Tyson and Sarah. Tyson said, like, we're too old to bamboozle each other.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny considering how it all played out.
Because they are excited to bamboozle each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what do we think of the daily barreled treasure? So basically what they have to do is they have to swim out to... I guess it was barrels, and they have to memorize a number, and then they have to swim over to other barrels and find their puzzle pieces in the correct barrel, right?
Yeah. It was a little confusing. The fact that they had to go twice also was hard, but I did like the idea that it was like you really had to work, and it was like, it wasn't just a rush thing. Like, as we saw, I thought it was really cool. I love when a daily happens and someone fucks up so bad, but then is able to still not only pull it off, but win. So like, I thought that was really cool and really epic. That they, Cash fucked up, but then they were still able to turn it around because other people are such bad swimmers. Other people are I'm not a good swimmer at all. I failed level 5 twice. But if I'm in a fucking life jacket, I'm doing this. I will get myself there as fast as I can.
Or like, I probably wouldn't want to wear my life jacket. I'd probably maybe use it as a flutterboard. Maybe I don't know. I just trying to figure out what would be the fastest. But like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know why people are so bad at swimming with a life jacket. That's basically what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
That challenge seemed like super grueling. It seemed like it was not easy at all.
I don't think it was easy.
Yeah, and it did seem like there were a chunk of people that weren't great swimmers. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty intense challenge. I mean, like they kept alluding to the memorization part being fairly easy, and it did seem that was the case.
It was like zeros and ones, basically.
Yeah, the swimming though, like it seemed like the water was dirty, and it seemed like it was very wavy. So kudos to all of them for finishing it.
100%.
Especially those who are not great swimmers.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of was excited about the idea of seeing a Derek and Cayla win because I was like, I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't think they'll throw in Tyson. And I think that I would like to see them do well. That'd be pretty cool. But man, did they ever shit the bed on that puzzle. They had so much extra time than everybody else. Yeah. There's no reason why they shouldn't have been able to figure it out. Like, Derek's supposed to be good at puzzles. Like, what's going on here? So that I was like, like, you should have won that. The fact that Tyson and Cash had to go back 3 times when I don't think anybody else fucked up the barrels. They were just that slow. Not that they showed, but they were just that slow going back and forth.
Like, okay, so then the strategy of Cashay and Tyson was, since Cash can't swim very well and Tyson can, she was going to be the motor. So she was just going to kick her feet and Tyson was going to swim and basically drag her. And this worked. Like, what? Like, it actually, they were able to be decently fast. And so I didn't see or understand what happened, how she messed up the barrel. Like, how did she just like, wouldn't you be like, hey, is this our number? Is this our barrel? Like, a double check it before you remove the lid? Like, how did that happen? I didn't see why.
Yeah, I think it was just a brain fart. Like, she lifted the lid. She lifted a lid, not realizing like it wasn't the number. It was just like she completely just fucked up like that.
She
wasn't
like,
thinking.
Oh.
Yeah,
or
it was
like
very
didn't see
quick.
The numbers were on the top and maybe thought the numbers were inside or something.
Yeah, like she just kind of pulled one and wasn't thinking.
Yeah, and then like the producer instantly said like, yeah, you got to go back now. And I don't think she thought the number was correct. I think she just like fucked up and lifted the lid.
And I'm like, oh my God, Cashay, you're finally with Tyson. Like, this is your opportunity to win a challenge. And you're going to send Tyson into elimination?
Yeah, like I was sure he was going into elimination. I was like, okay, he's going into elimination. And it's just going to be about him persuading whatever to get the right team that he wants or something. Like, I was already like worst case until we see Azah and Enzo and Leo, and I see how bad all of these people are, and I was like, oh, I thought I was bad at swimming, but like that is
how can you be this? I just don't understand how you could be this bad. Like, I don't know. Like, I took swimming lessons, so maybe that's why. And like, my sisters are both like professional swimmers, so maybe like I just think that swimming is something that you naturally learn. But like, I'm not a good swimmer, and I don't really like open water. But like, I just don't think that I would be last.
I think it's a mental thing more than anything. Like if you're not comfortable swimming, like water has to be like a huge fear, especially if you like fully don't know how to swim. Like obviously you have a life jacket on, there's a million producers there, but I think just like the mental aspect of being in that open water when the waves are kind of hitting you, that's probably more the issue there. It's just like fucking up your mental more than the actual physically swimming.
I don't know, with the life jacket though, it's just it's so secure, you know. I feel so like safe when I'm wearing a life jacket. I feel like I can do anything, invincible almost. So what I thought was also really funny, we got our episode Kiki shout out from Danny. So he mentions that Angela's helping him up, like climb up the side to, I guess, retrieve the puzzle pieces or look at the number or whatever it is, and he doesn't want his wife to see him being pulled up by Angela. I definitely had a chuckle here. How is our Kiki?
Like, come on, he has to say Kiki every time. I'm obsessed with it. Like, he just seems like such a nice, person, and I do hope we see some action with him as things move forward. I'm glad he's still there. I'm excited to, he's had some good partners and he's been close to winning like many times, but I do want to see what he would do with some power. Cause I will say, like, on Survivor, like, he never made any horrible, stupid mistakes or anything like that, but he never made anything that was like a crazy strong move.
Well, I was happy that he was super pissed with Jeff Probst, like,
that was
when why did we get to see that? I want to see that, like, more of that. Apparently that was like a long, big fight that they had at Tribal, or I don't know, before Tribal.
It was before,
like, that's a lie. That's a lie. It's not a
and twist. I honestly, like, I agreed with it, even though, like, the outcome was better for, like, how I felt about the people. Yeah. I wanted things to flip completely, but I'm like, you said one thing and you didn't give the caveat, which is why they gave the caveat in the last season to cover their asses. And I'm like, you should have done that. And like, that was kind of bullshit for sure.
So bullshit. But I definitely still love that Angela's just always super strong. Like, she's so badass. I'm really enjoying her on this season, and I think she's even said that she feels that the challenge is more suited to her. Did one of you guys tell me that she said that, or were we just speculating? I feel like someone told me this recently.
I think I heard her say that as well. So maybe we did talk about it. But yeah, she's definitely like she's a beast. She'll be a threat here. I wonder if maybe if Sarah's looking for revenge on Tyson, if maybe she takes the shot at Angela instead of directly at Tyson. I could see that happening there. And before we get to this question, while we are on Danny, we did find out this week that he is a listener of this show. So shout out to Danny. Shout out to Kiki. We love you here. Big fan of yours. So,
we stand a loyal man. We stand.
If you're listening, we are rooting for you.
Yeah. Definitely want to see, like, he's gonna have to have a big episode.
He needs like a hall brawl. He needs like and hopefully it's not against Tyson, but he needs like something. And it's interesting that like Tyson hasn't I don't think Tyson sees Danny as a threat at all right now for his game. Like he's focused on other things, which I think is cool because like Danny's a huge physical threat. So the fact that like people aren't really catching on to try to get him out at all is also like working in his favor for sure right now.
Yeah, I think if Tyson doesn't plan on taking out Danny, I think that's an oversight because Danny is the one person that will beat him in a final. Like he's a professional athlete. It's just like you're not going to beat that in a foot race. So that's like his only real threat if they're both in the final. Anyone else, I think Tyson beats pretty easily.
Definitely. I thought that Danny's best moment, though, I loved his confessional when we see, I think it was a flashback when Tyson and him are talking and he's going to take out Sarah because he wants to take out Ben. And he said something to the effect of like, that's how we do it on Survivor. Like, we don't take you out, we take out your closest ally. And I was like, that's true. That is true. I like that you're thinking that way. So I'm wondering if that's also maybe could allude to something that he might do later on. So
yeah, and it's nice to see at least he's involved in the conversation. So he, if Tyson is going to be a bigger threat than him, I'm sure Danny is just fine with that. If like Tyson and Ben and Sarah are going to take shots at each other, and Danny can sneak by another week or two,
and he could win. He could definitely, if he doesn't have Tyson in the final right now, maybe Kyland is a match for him potentially. And Kyland, I think, knows the game better, so Kyland would be probably dangerous for Danny.
Also, I just had a realization. I don't think Kyland was in the episode. I don't remember seeing him a single time. Who even was his partner?
Shannon.
I don't think we saw him. I literally don't think we saw him. I don't know how well he placed in the challenge. Didn't see anything about him.
I think they must have just been like a middle of the pack, like finished like fourth or fifth. Didn't really matter. Was never going to get thrown into elimination.
Up to 6. I only wrote down up to 5th, so they're at least 6 or higher is what they finished.
Well, they weren't bottom 3 either, so
so they're probably
6, 7
or 7th. So Leo, okay. I know that Leo, I actually really like him. I liked him on The Amazing Race. I love the Afghanimals, and I was really just frustrated that he hasn't really realized the impression that he's given the other players. And so, yeah, it's great that you talk about cats all the time. We get it. That's your shtick. You know, he's a catfish. Ha, ha, ha. I get it. But like when everybody has this impression of you not being a good partner or not taking things seriously, that's terrible for your game and terrible for any of your allies. And so the fact that he's not considering that is frustrating for me that wants to root for Leo. But at this point, I was like, Leo, you got to go because I don't want you to screw up any of my favorites games at this point.
And I think that like what he showed today, like in the elimination at least, is that like he can think smart. He can take things seriously. He can go hard. But like, and it was disappointing because Sarah to me is kind of one of those people that like, she'll get it in her head that someone's going to be bad for her and like kind of ruin things for her. And she's just a poor sport about it. So she just like isn't playing around. And like there are moments to be more playing around within a challenge. You can like play and have fun. We saw that with James and Cayla winning that elimination. Like I think you can have that in the right moments. But he's, as you said, just not self-aware.
Well, come on, like you're doing the challenge and like you won't jump off the ledge and you climb down the thing and then you're just
he's like, I'm gonna get water in my nose. I'm like, what? If this is an issue for you, like practice jumping into the water and plugging your nose because like that's something you're definitely gonna have to do in the final.
Actually, you know what I mean? As well, like I've always when people are like always like have to plug their nose up, like
no, blow out when you go into the water. Just blow out. right? Isn't that what you do? That's what I do.
I usually just hold my breath and then blow out when I'm coming up. But like, I never actually put my fingers here. What's your technique, Matthew?
Yeah, I've never had any issues like with that jumping in the water. I don't plug my nose either.
I plug it from the inside. You know what I mean?
I'm really good in the water.
You're a Pisces, a fish. Should be
so
good.
I can like hold my breath underwater for like a minute and like,
oh my God.
And
that gives me a panic attack, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be good there. I wouldn't freak out with water stuff. It's been a while since I've like really swam, but I'd be pretty comfortable with doing anything water related.
I mean, I did once. It was terrible because like I don't love the water, but like I would do these type of things. I played, a friend of mine puts together a Survivor weekend, and so what we had to do was like, it was this gauntlet. It was a battle back. I just had been swap screwed. I was voted out of a tribe. I was the only person that wasn't from their original tribe. I made it past one round, but then I was gone. But it was a battle back, and so it was like a 3-stage gauntlet. So I passed the first stage. Then the second stage, I had to tread. Like, I first had to listen to this long ass story, and then to get into the water, and I had to freaking tread water while answering questions. And I'm like, this sucks. Treading water, that sucks. Like, I can see people like not being able to tread water because on Australian Survivor, they make people tread water for like 2 hours. I'm like, like 7 minutes, I'll be done with treading water.
Yeah, no. I cannot tread water.
That would suck. Like, I wouldn't be able to tread water for that long of a time. But swimming with its life jacket, jumping in the water, I could jump in the water very easily. I'm not scared of that at all. But Tyson, though, at this point is pissed, like, because he's still passing people, and so it's making him feel good that like he had to go back for an extra trip, but he's still passing the likes of Leo, as we mentioned, and some other these Dom, was it Dom or was it Enzo? Probably both, that were just not doing well. So I was happy that at least he was overtaking people, but I hate seeing Tyson pissed.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, I don't want Tyson to be upset.
But it all worked out for him anyway.
I know, but like in the moment when he's just like flinging the puzzle pieces and just like, let's go back. Like, I'm like, oh, Cash must have felt so bad. Like, imagine like at that point just being like, oh my God, am I going to be the one that breaks Tyson's winning streak? Like I'm not going to get to my $5,000 to go run the final. Like, oh my gosh. So I would feel terrible. So Derek X wants to prove himself. Him and Cayla are like in the lead for most of it. Like, they're doing so well. Justine and Ben are doing exceptionally well. And I was like, yes, Justine, like, prove to be badass. I was super happy that she was doing really well on this. I don't know how well she can swim. Like, we never heard any confessionals. But we know that she did well with Tyson when she had to do a little bit of swimming and climbing that rope ladder and jumping onto that buoy. So I was like, yes, Justine, like, showing that you are actually a beast right now, winning the elimination with David, winning a challenge with Tyson, now like neck and neck with DX and Cayla for first place. Like, F yeah, Justine, like, I'm watching you. Like, are you gonna win this?
I know. I'm into it. I'm into Justine. She's strong, she's tall, she's got good social game, she's got good self-awareness. She's not playing too hard, but she's still keeping herself in the know pretty well, it seems. So yeah, I hope she's in the final. I'd be very excited for her.
And I think I mentioned this last week, but she's a fan of competitive reality shows. So she knows the challenge. She's auditioned for Survivor. She might have auditioned for other shows that I'm not aware of, but like, Love Island just happened because she was looking for kind of like a relationship, but she really wanted to be on Survivor, which I think is awesome. And so the fact, I love seeing people that are fans of this type of format excelling and doing well.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want Justine to be on the main season. Like, that would be a fun addition.
Yeah, the Justine, Cash, and Shannon are really great to have on this cast. Kyra's still there, but she's kind of invisible all season.
I told you, she's kind of boring.
Yeah, the other three are just, they're crushing it. They're so much fun. There's such a fun wild card. Not Justine, not as much, because Justine is not really bringing drama. She is actually a threat to win. The other two, I think, are bringing drama. I don't really see Shannon or Cash winning the game, but I would love to see all three of them on the main show.
Literally,
I'd be fine with that.
2 out of 4 of my remaining members of my draft are Leo and Kyra. Like, I'm screwed, you guys. And then I have Dom. My only hope is Angela winning. That's literally my only hope right now.
I don't know if you're going to be able to gather enough points with them, but you might get a win, though. Might get a W. But what do you think about this? So Fernando also thinks that they might be building a Sarah versus Angela possible elimination. 100%.
Yeah, I want that. As long as Sarah loses.
It's either going to be that or what I mentioned earlier, where Sarah is going to try to get at Tyson by throwing Angela.
By throwing in Angela? Yeah.
Or Angela will throw Sarah in. But I think ultimately we see the elimination. That's what I hope for.
I could also see, like, say next week, Sarah wins, throws Angela in. Angela wins. And then the beef continues. And then once it gets to every man for themselves, and because we've seen that there's a hall brawl, I could see it being like Sarah versus Angela in a hall brawl. Everyone will put their money on Sarah because she's a little more like, you know. But I think Angela would be very hard to beat still. Like, I think Tyson would probably give her as much tips as he could since he did hall brawl training. So hopefully he would, like, give her as much help as he can.
Yeah, hall brawl, I'd be a little bit worried for Angela there. Anything else, I think Angela could take it, but hall brawl, I'd be a bit concerned.
What about pole wrestle? Probably, I wouldn't want her to do pole wrestle, but we know she could be.
Not against Sarah. It's gonna be tough, but we'll see.
There was a woman on a few seasons of the main show. She like refused to do any physical elimination because she didn't want to like hurt her face. Like she didn't want to like get bruised on her face. It was the girl that hooked up with Fessy, the blonde.
Gabby.
Yeah, Gabby. So I could see Angela being a little concerned. Like, I don't want to like get into the dirt with Sarah and have her like.
But I also see like her being like, F this, like I want to take her down. Like, and just seeing like some fire come out of her and like.
I hope so. I'd love to see it.
Like her being underestimated by Sarah and then like winning. Oh my God, epic. So, because TJ doesn't talk about Sarah. Like, I don't remember him saying Sarah being someone that like, oh, you should watch out for this person. Like, she should be on the main show. So it must to me, that means that this was her biggest moment and everything else after that, it's going to be a flop with Sarah.
Hopefully. We'll see.
It doesn't say winning or running the final to me. He's not even mentioning her. He mentions Alyssa. He mentions Angela. He mentions Tyson. He mentioned who else?
Ben.
These are all people that have probably made it far.
Well, what if this is the case? What if Sarah ends her run on the show in some sort of negative way? If she's not getting a favorable edit. Like they made her look pretty awful today. So what if like that continues and TJ is just like, no, like fuck her. I could see that.
If she gets like pulled for like actually maybe making some threats or something like that.
No, I don't see that.
I don't see that. But
she's not like that far unhinged. I mean, what she did today was like, ooh. But I don't know. I don't see
was she like eating a bat, like Ozzy Osbourne? Like
I could see her like making the final, and maybe she loses the final or loses just before the final, and it's just a horrible sport about it. And TJ just doesn't want to hype her up.
She is a poor sport about things.
Well, like, she's a sore winner.
She's a sore winner and a sore loser, and we saw both of those things in this episode. Even though she won the elim, she was so already a sore loser just being with Leo. Like, yeah.
The worst. So what we do see though at this point that Alyssa and David were in third place, which I just wanted to point out that David isn't a bad swimmer, which is also good to know. And so
surprising again. I mean, I guess I got to give credit where credit's due.
David's shining. So Sophie wants to know whether or not we think the teams will break up at some point. You just kind of mentioned that you think that when they go solo.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is like once everyone's had the partners and we're like round 2, when you get to an elimination, I think it's going to be female elimination, male elimination. And like, so you're still going to compete in the daily as a pair, but your elimination is your own fate. I think that's what I see happening.
Right.
So you'll still have partners. Yeah. And then and then there'll be like one last little purge or something where it's kind of like every person for themselves. And then the final, I see it being like a similar like change partners throughout the final. A rotation, yeah.
I really hope they don't do an annoying final. That pisses me off, though.
I know, I'm scared for that. Like, give me a good final.
I don't want the stars. I just give me a normal final. Just give me normal. Yeah. Make them eat some nasty shit. Make them have to stay awake overnight. Make them climb a friggin' mountain. Like, make them run like across, where are they again? Argentina?
Yeah.
Run across Argentina. Like, I want an old school, really hard final. With the math elements, with the puzzle elements, like I don't want them to be tricky with stars and you get sabotage points star. Like, I don't want any of that. It's just gonna be a really hard traditional final. That would be my dream. So we see Tyson pulling cash, and he's even passing Danny, which I was like, Tyson's like unbelievable. And at this point, there was a lot of people that were up and they started their puzzles. So we see that DX and Cayla have lost their lead. Like, so many people are working on their puzzle at this point. Tyson and Cashay get to the puzzle point and they just put this tangram together. It seems like on their first try. And TJ posts the horn. I was like, holy effing shit. Tyson and Cashay won. And they had
after
to do an
he
extra
just
lap.
dragged her 3 times back and forth.
I was shocked. I was like
shocked.
I was kind of looking away at that point. I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, okay, like Derek X and Cayla are gonna end up winning this. Like classic edit where they're gonna make it seem like other teams have a shot, but obviously they're gonna win. And then I like look up. I'm like, wait, Tyson and Cash are there? And then like 30 seconds later, it's like, damn, they won. I'm like, holy shit. That was impressive. That was a true come from behind.
Yes.
It got to a point where I didn't think they were in danger of coming in last, but I definitely had no inclination that they were gonna win the daily there. So that was super impressive.
It was so out of the blue, and I was here for it, obviously, because like I didn't want Cashay to feel like she was the anchor or the dead weight on their team. And so I'm so happy that even with making that mistake, like how far ahead of the game would they have been if that mistake wasn't made? Like, would people have even gotten their puzzle pieces by the time they'd finished the challenge? Like,
oh, probably not.
Like, wow, like they had to do an extra lap to be for everybody else to be able to compete with them.
I can't wait to listen to Tyson's podcast tomorrow where he just gloats about it.
I love him.
Oh, I can't wait for him to go at Sarah too.
I'm very excited for that because he's kind of just alluded to things so far about like Sarah and Ben, like, hasn't really said anything. And so now the gates are open and I'm pumped.
You can be like, so now his full rivalry is out there and he doesn't have to pretend like he likes her.
Yeah.
So I wrote down a couple of people. So Derek and Cayla finished second. Ben and Justine third, which I'm like, that's also pretty good. I believe it was Angela and Danny were fourth. Mm-hmm. Alyssa and David were fifth. So these are the top 5. Like, that's like pretty impressive. Alyssa and David were in the top half. And everybody else is pretty strong. So I was impressed by how everybody finished. Definitely was surprising, some of these finishers. So good job. So then I'm writing like, oh, Lord have mercy. Cinco dragging Azah. And I'm like, Azah, I'm sorry, Azah girl. Azah's not meant for the challenge. It's so like.
And her face just gets so like it's just like, it's like death is in her eyes. Like, it's just like, and I've seen this now multiple times. So I wasn't worried this time. Because like the first challenge when she like fainted or whatever, like, it's like she just gets so like, ooh, queen, like, jeez, relax.
Yeah, Azah. What do you think, Matthew? Do you think Azah should come back for season 2?
No, I don't think she'll be back. I think my worry with her, I had the same worry with her and Derek X coming into the season, where I thought like they're both just such nice, like sweet people, and I thought the game would like just eat them up. And Derek has actually surprised me. He seems to have some strategic chops. Like, he's willing to play.
Because of Claire, I think.
Yeah, and Azah, like, she won an elimination. She's done fine throughout the game, but yeah, this is not really for her. I don't think. But I like her. I'm a fan.
But she also won that elimination because Kyland pulled her around.
And also, we learned that Cely and Jovanny they had their rope out, but just at the wrong spot. So like the circle was on this side, they pulled their rope out on this side because they didn't think about when they flipped, like what they were doing. So like, you know what I mean? The beginning of the pulling the rope through, you'll have it on this side, but when you flip to the other side, you don't want to do the same motion, right? It's going to be on the opposite side. So they completely just misjudged where the hole was, and they had to pull it back through and then try to put it back in the proper spot. So if they had not made a mistake, I think that they would have beat them in that elimination.
Yeah, that would have been wild. I mean, and with tonight, it's like when it came down to Azah and Cinco and Leo and Sarah at the end, those were the bottom two teams. I was just praying that Leo and Sarah would lose.
Me too.
Because then I feel like Tyson at that point is going to throw in like a big threat to knock them out.
He might even though he's with Justine, like throw in Justine to be like, well, at least I get rid of one
my God,
of them.
that would be so dirty, but like that has to be what's coming up too.
Because at that point, you might as well cut off one of those two. He might not have done that. It's risky for sure, but
like
at least
he might have because he's just so messy.
He doesn't really care about any of them.
Wants good TV and being the star over like, let me be completely strategic. And even, how did you guys feel about Ben calling Tyson out, being like, you make moves too early and like you don't know when to make a move, and that's your
pissed me off
fault in
even
the
more
game.
When Sarah, like they were talking and Sarah was like, he always screws himself. He's only won once out of 4 times. You've played 3 times.
And you won once.
You won once. And also, like, did you even watch his seasons? Like,
no, they definitely didn't watch
an entertaining, great player to watch. And there's more than just getting the W every time. It's also just like solidifying yourself as a player that people respect. And people always respect Tyson's games because he's got that perfect mix of charm, relatability, funness, but having confidence, playing risky, like, you know?
Tysonism. So like we have like Janelacy, like Tysonelacy, because like I think it might be a bit of a jealousy thing because we do hear when Cayla lets him know, it's like that doesn't like that he's won so much and he's always coming in first and he has the power. Tyson. It's like, is he jealous that Tyson's just better?
Yeah, he's definitely jealous. And I mean, if you look at like the facts of the situation, Tyson has won 1 of 4 times, but he will go down when Survivor is over 10 years from now. He's going to be a legend of the game. Ben is going to be remembered as the guy who only won because he found 5 idols, got gifted a fire making. And then on his second go around, he quit the game essentially because he was scared to go to the final 3 and get bashed by the jury. He was going to be a 0 vote finalist. Everyone was going to take him to the end. And he wanted to avoid that. So he essentially quit the game for Sarah. And he made it seem like it was for Sarah, but we all know the real reason was because he was going to get ripped apart because his game was so poor. That would never happen to Tyson. Like, sure, Tyson has made big mistakes in Heroes vs. Villains. He was a cocky, like, 25-year-old when he first played. But Tyson is a legend, and Ben will never be a legend. Sarah, great player, but she will never be a legend. She's not going to be a legendary character.
She's not likable.
But Sarah is a better player than Ben. Also, like, you know, but I just hate her superiority complex of like that whole like, I'm a cop and we're so trustworthy and we're so this, unless I choose to betray you, but it's okay if I do it. But if you do it, it's morally wrong and you have no ethics. But if I do it, it makes sense. Like, she doesn't have that capability to understand from the other person's perspective, or she just thinks that what happens to her is just more relevant and means more and matters more than what's happening to anybody else.
Exactly. It's all about Sarah's perspective, and like you can't do anything wrong to her. Yeah, it's really it is. Maybe that's what it is. It irritates me about her, but I've never enjoyed her game. I never was really rooting for her. I was trying to at one point. I was trying to root for her, and I was like, no, it's just
because like Tony, because Tony is such a good player, right? That like her being with him makes you kind of like, there's elements of it sort of.
So it was a race to the bottom, basically, between Sarah and Leo and Cinco and Azah. And Sarah and Leo obviously get it before them, and she's so happy and whatever. So Cinco and Azah are going directly into the elimination. Who was crying? Was Azah crying?
Yeah, I think Azah. She felt bad. She knew it was essentially her fault that they had lost. Which is tough to see.
Loving though, like whatever handshake Cashay and Tyson were doing. I'm like, yes, this is a duo that I like to see. I told you guys before that Cashay and Shannon were on an IG live, and he like pops into the chat, like just like commenting and stuff like that. So they have a friendship.
Also, like, it's cool to see Tyson win with someone, not that Cash is bad, but she's not a great swimmer, right? And she fucked up. And that gives me vibes of like, a Wes or a Landon who's had bad partners and been able to bring them up and still win despite that. Whereas like in other situations where people win, I'm like, oh, well, that was a great combo of people, and like Angela and Kyland. Wow, great job. But yes, of course, you're both strong. Like, it's good. It's more impressive to me when someone can do both, which Tyson definitely can. So, and he was mad, but he still did it. Like when he was being like, I'm so mad. I'm like, oh, are you going to let that get in your head? No, of course not. Of course not.
So we see Cashay talking about her journey and how wild it's been, like being in elimination and winning and coming back and now winning a daily. But she doesn't seem to think about the fact that she's going to have to put somebody in for her game. And I wish that she was thinking a little bit more strategically here. Like, I know she ends up coming around, but in this confessional, I was like, wait, also though, like the fact that your ex-boyfriend is down there, like what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, isn't that part of your story, your journey? Like, I want to hear a little bit more of her thought process here, because her confessionals are good. So I want to hear her speak a little bit more about what's going on in her head. So then we get the scene with Cinco and Azah, and him convincing her to like not say anything about Cash. And I was like, Azah, man, you're definitely not long for this world if you're going to allow him to not let you suggest somebody that you would rather go up against. Like, you're fighting for your life here.
They should have at least within themselves even if that's his plan.
Be like, okay, but let's try to
okay, who do we want? What can we say to them without saying this team to point them in that direction? Let us brainstorm. And then even if it doesn't work, I applaud the brainstorm. I applaud the attempts and the effort to be a strategic game player, because obviously nothing can always work out, but I would get more behind it. But instead I was like, this is so stupid. This is going to get you nowhere. And you could potentially go in against a really hard team.
Well, and so, also though, being able to prepare yourself for who you might be going in against, you know what I mean? As well, because I don't know if they thought that Sarah and Leo were going to be an option for them. Like, maybe they thought that they were automatically going to get either David and Alyssa or Cayla and who was she with again? Cayla. Oh, and Derek. So maybe he just thought automatically those were the teams that they're choosing from. So he didn't need to give any more ammunition for later on. Right. And so maybe that's why they didn't say anything. They're just like, well, we know it's going to be one of those two teams. But no matter what, like, that's an opportunity for you to get a little bit of your way, or you can make a deal with them being like, hey, if you give me this person, like if I ever win power, like I'll give you whoever you want. If you were in the bottom, whatever, like do something, not just withhold information. Cinco. So what happened after this? We're at the deliberation, and he follows through and doesn't say anything. And how frustrating it must have been for like a Tyson who loves when people are just like groveling and trying to like save their lives. And
he was probably like, you know what? Well, fine, then we get to do anything that we want. Okay. Like he's really good at just like rolling with the punches in that way. So I knew he was going to be fine, but in my mind I was like, you're giving him the opportunity to put in whoever he wants. He's going to go for someone. Like, that's what the whole episode was leading towards, that he was going to throw in Sarah. When Sarah's like, I feel so safe. And Ben's like, I feel so safe. I was like, well, it's Justine and Ben, so it's not going to be them. So it's got to be Sarah and Leo. And this is the time to shoot with such a terrible partner.
And also when like Tyson, I think, approached the conversation great. He's like, so what's the goal? Is it money? Is it, you know, whether, like, do you want to go against a weaker team? And like Cinco still beating around the bush, being like, well, obviously the objective is to stay in. And it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to give me anything here, like, good luck with whomever you go against, Cinco.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, Cashay was still trying to get in there and being like, do you have any people that you want to go into or you want to protect or that you want to save? Like something. And he just was like, nothing. So I really was hoping that Cinco was going to be a better game player, but we learned this season that he doesn't got the chops.
No. But maybe he'll watch it back, see what other people are doing, and be like, oh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he will see that. Because sometimes there are people who in their first season of the challenge are like, there's no strategy. And then they come back and there's some strategy. And they end up getting better and better.
Yeah, that's possible. He's still young.
So there's an opportunity. Because I think he'll definitely get invited back. I mean, he's so attractive. There's always going to be lots of storylines around him. So I think that he's definitely someone that they will try to get back again.
Yeah, I can see him back for sure. I mean, I also see him in a bit of the mold of like Nelson or Hunter. Like they're not necessarily like strategic, but
he would be too because he's on the same season as Jeremiah. So Jeremiah will be like, hey, go hang out with like Team Young Buck.
Exactly. Like I could see him in that mold fully, where these are not strategic players, but they're good looking, they're physical, and like you get into
workout together.
Yeah, the workout crews. Like they're not going to be the Wesses of the world, but there is still
we need them for a balance. So we do need those type of players for sure. But I was hoping that Cinco, being a fan of the show, would have given me some more. Okay, so Danita is here with the tea. So allegedly, Justine has gone to see Cinco a few times post filming, and one of Cinco's friends who used to follow Cash unfollowed her and immediately then followed Justine and posted them at a club. And then Cash unfollowed the friend and Justine after that. Okay, so if you're going to go visit somebody, you don't just go visit a friend by yourself, I would say.
Interesting. I mean, Cinco, from what I've heard about Cinco on Love Island, like, he was fucking around with her feelings at that point too, right? Like he was like picking what's her name instead, and like
it's kind of hard to say that for sure because the format of the show is that it's like putting you in situations where you have to choose between people and stuff like that, and like, you know, when you're coupled up with somebody, you can't be sleeping in the same bed with somebody else and that person's averse going home. So they put you in these circumstances on the show. So I don't know how he would have been if they just met normally and were dating, if he would be entertaining someone else. But this other girl basically inserted herself in their vibe and then picked him. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. But he definitely, there was times where I'm like, Cinco, you better tell Cash how you feel or I'm going to fucking punch you. So yeah, sometimes he was a little bit quiet about his feelings for her.
Interesting.
So I did love though when they're like, okay, well, if they're not going to give us anything because they hadn't talked about it yet, he's like, well, then we're considering everybody. I'm like, exactly, consider everybody at this point, because if you're going to give me nothing, I'll give you what I want then.
Yeah.
So Derek and Cayla know it's going to be an option, and we see Cayla, being a strategic queen that she is, going over telling Tyson what we talked about already with Ben. So I was like, yes, that's good thoughts to, you know, try to just get in with Tyson. And I also liked how she began the conversation with him being like, hey, like, we don't have game chats. I want to change that. And I was like, yes, you do. You want to change that.
She's like a queen stepping into her power. I was like, Cayla. She's picking up the torch from James and continuing some smart strategy while not being too much. Like, I'm into it. I hope she goes far. I really do.
And I guess they probably have a little bit of a relationship because they did just get paired up together, even though it was for trivia. So it wasn't something where they could easily win or like show how well they work together. So I'm happy that she hopefully is making a good relationship with Tyson so that she can go far, because I'm rooting for Cayla. So they know that they're going to be an option. So I'm happy that she put in some work, like more work than freaking Cinco and Azah did is what they did. They're not even like going into the elimination.
Yeah, exactly.
You see more of
and
Sarah.
Also, it was to protect herself because she knew she was an option. So, you know.
So Sarah's complaining up to Danny about Leo, frustrated about Leo, and I'm just like, I don't know, Sarah, don't complain to people about people because you're not likable when you do that. Cashay, though, we learn loves Leo, but from what Sarah has been saying, is that she doesn't want Leo as a partner, especially if it's like a swimming challenge. And so the fact that Sarah couldn't see that it's not necessarily a good thing to be complaining about your partner, why doesn't she have that foresight?
Yeah, exactly.
She sucks. So we're at the arena. What was it called?
I forget.
I didn't write it down.
I can't remember. I didn't write it either.
I didn't write it down, but so they're going to be going against A Dark Turn is what it's called. Sorry, there we go. Yeah, so we're going to have Cinco and Azah going against Sarah and Leo, and they were fuming when that call out was made. Like, Sarah was just so angry, and I was like, get it, it's annoying, it sucks, but like the rage that she brings out, it's not funny at all. You know what I mean? It's like, she's being a little bit too serious.
Yeah. And she's like, they need to take it seriously. I'm like, yeah, we love commitment, but like,
I don't know, like
it also
comes out very aggressive.
It's literally a show. It's a TV show.
And so basically what they had to do, this was kind of a hard challenge. They had different kind of film reels, they were calling them, in a dark room stacked in a particular order. And so they had to gather their pieces, put it on a pole. It kind of has elements of things that we've seen before. What are your guys' thoughts on this elimination?
It was interesting. I mean, give them some credit. Like Sarah and Leo had a real good strategy there. And I also noticed that they waited for Azah and Cinco to go into like the dark area to start their strategy.
Right, so they would be able to copy.
Yeah, so Azah and Cinco were already inside for who knows how long, and they're gathering the pieces, they're measuring. So I thought that was really smart. And obviously, I mean, it didn't end up being very close, the elimination, but yeah, I thought it was cool. I wish that Azah and Cinco had a better strategy, so it would have been more interesting to watch. Yes. But I think the concept was cool.
It seemed like they just were frazzled and just like flailing, and I wanted them to do well. I was just like, well, it looks like it's so easy for Leo and Sarah to win. And you see Cashay like, oh my God, if they both come back in, I'm effed. And like Angela's like, I support whatever Tyson wants, but like everybody just does not want them to win. So I was like thinking, I'm like, so they're not going to win, right? But then they won.
No, I was like, they're going to win.
I thought they were going to win too.
At that point, I was like, yeah.
I was just hoping so hard that like when they did the check, they would have gotten something wrong. Yeah. And then like they'd had to like figure out what they got wrong. And then finally they got their order together and then they pulled out a W. That's what I was really hoping for. But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
I think it's definitely for the best because from the rest of the season, the second half of the season, it's going to be a split house. Like it's going to be Tyson and Angela versus Ben and Sarah. And then both of those sides are going to pick up all the Love Island pieces, the Amazing Race pieces, whatever's
Who's going to go on Sarah's and Ben's side?
That's what I was thinking too. It's
Tyson. Like, everybody loves Tyson, right? Everyone wants to be on Tyson's team. So Angela obviously is not going to do anything to screw over Tyson, like, at all.
I mean, they're going to have Leo, but
Leo.
Yeah, what does that do, really?
I guess Desi and Dom are the two.
I think that Cayla will be like, don't worry about it. We can get Tyson back on our side. Like, like
the Love Island women are going to stick with Tyson, I think.
Of course. He's gotten Justine some money, Cashay some money, so absolutely, I think that they're going to be like friends with him over Ben and Sarah.
I think Kyland is going to stick with Tyson and Angela. I think Alyssa will stick with them for sure. David, who knows? DX will stick with them. Yeah, I think Ben and Sarah are kind of screwed unless they can win something.
So, I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. This season is giving. So we had some points to give out. There was no fights this episode. I think we'll get some fight points maybe next week, though. That looks like some fun might be going down. But we got 5 points.
You don't consider the You're Dead to Tyson a fight?
Nah.
No fight?
There has to be like a fight for it to be, you know what I mean? Like both parties have to be
like
in
yelling,
the fight for it
like,
to be a fight.
Back and forth, like soup. We know we need to see some hot noodles thrown at somebody.
She does not deserve more points than she's already getting for this episode.
Yeah. Fair point.
So 5 points are going to obviously Tyson and Cashay. And then 10 points going to Sarah and Leo. You have Leo though, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
And MVP.
My vote for MVP is Cayla.
Do you have any objections, Matthew? Anybody you want to throw into the ring here?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Tyson. I think like he's been in the conversation so many times, and I feel like every week we try to give it to someone else because But
also, yeah, you're right. Sorry,
we keep saying like, oh yeah, Tyson will have more opportunities to get it, but at the end of the day, like his performance in that daily was one of the more impressive performances I've ever seen. Like, with all due respect to Cash, he essentially was dragging her through that.
You know what? Daily. I agree with you. I take back my vote. And I vote Tyson.
Even though he did turn on the Survivor Alliance, to me, it was much different than when they turned on Xavier last week. I think Tyson has no trust with Sarah and Ben. And I actually liked him throwing her in at this opportunity because she was with Leo. I thought it was smart. Obviously didn't work out favorably, but I mean, Tyson's got $16K in his bank account. I think it's another dominating performance. So
true. Gotta vote for Cash. Cash is in there, but it was her decision to put in Leo, and it kind of backfired. So, and she made mistakes in the episode. So I don't know if I can give her the MVP this episode because she nearly lost it for them. And Tyson had to come in there and win for them. So I can be, it's 2 against 1 for sure. If I chose Cayla anyways, I think that Cayla is definitely a great choice, but for all the reasons that you said, Matthew, like if it wasn't for Tyson, Cashay would not have won this at all. And we can see that if he was with anybody this episode, he would have won the challenge. So I think that definitely deserves some MVP status for sure. So Tyson MVP. How many points did we decide for that? Was it 5?
5.
Okay. Delicious. Oh, I forgot to do an update. I'll do an update next week on our draft on the board so Michelle can cry. Sorry, Michelle.
Everyone in the chat is saying, the people in the chat are saying that we're handing you the win. So
me?
Well, you both have a chance still. But yeah, it's looking like Chantele.
I have some good. Well, I mean, didn't you chose the order though? Didn't you? I got to get Tyson. But no, you started. Who did you start? Oh, you started with Angela. You got Angela first.
Yeah, I got Angela.
I have Danny, so he's the one I'm somewhat optimistic about.
It's been a long time coming. I haven't won one in a little while, so finally, I'm doing decently in a draft. But it's only because I know some of the Love Island people, so I had a little bit more knowledge of than you, Michelle, I'd say. Well, that's pretty much it for the episode. Wait, MVP Leo. Hold on. I agree with MVP Leo. That elimination strategy was incredibly impressive.
It was
I feel it
smart.
needs some respect put on his name.
I put respect on it. I do put respect on it, but his performance in the daily and his lack of self-awareness and strategy in the social aspect can't give him that for me. But elimination-wise, this gave me hope that for my team at least, that he could maybe win a couple more eliminations. I say that because I think he'll be in more eliminations. But maybe I'll get those points from that. So here's hoping.
Yeah, the thing that I'm scared about for a lot of the men specifically that are left is we haven't got any physical eliminations yet, and we know they're coming. So, like Derek X, Leo, Enzo, David, they're going to get into physical eliminations. And yeah, MVP Kiki, sure.
MVP Kiki. You know what? Yeah.
There better be like a Bloodlines or something season for Kiki to be able to come on to the show.
Oh my god,
like,
we need to see her.
That I need to see like her be badass and like them being like an amazing duo. Like I need to see that. So next maybe season 2 will be a Bloodlines. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. Derek X. If they had won the daily, that would have been.
Yeah, he's very close to being an MVP. He's playing well. He's playing quite well.
Oh, and one more thing about Leo is that the only reason why he was in the elimination is because he's been so bad, and I can't give someone props for coming up with a strategy to save themselves when they could have come up with a strategy of like not being thrown in there by being a bad partner. So. Yeah, I can't give him MVP, but I still like him and I want him to do well. But that's pretty much it, guys. Anything else to chat about before we say goodnight?
No, I'm really excited for next week. It's going to be so dramatic. I really hope Tyson doesn't get fucked over, but I do believe that if he has to go into elimination, he will win. I have hope. I'm scared to know who his partner is going to be, though, because he hasn't been with Shannon yet.
I'm not sure about Shannon as a partner for Tyson. I think Shannon's a decent partner.
Who?
Shannon's also a gymnast, right? So she has similar pedigree.
But as I said, you know what? I take it back because as I said, he can do well with anyone, I think. But I think him and Sarah being partnered would be the funniest.
The thing is, like,
the funniest outcome.
They'd
they
probably
would do well.
win. They'd win the daily, and they'd be conflicted on what to do. So
that'd
would
be
fun.
like an odd couple winning. So that would be a great combination. Any other pairings that you're hoping to see next week?
Cashay
and Leo is probably going to happen. Sorry, Cashay. Hopefully,
if that happens, I feel like they're going to go home. Unfortunately,
it could also be Cayla and Leo. They haven't been together yet.
Yeah.
In which case, they could get thrown in potentially if people don't want to make a move. But I think a move is going to be made from now on, especially next week.
I think we're set up for the second half of the season for it to be like the first half has been really strong, but I think the second half will be more dramatic. So I think we're set up really nicely, and
like blindside after blind, like just people just taking out the shots. Shots are going to be taken now for sure.
Yeah. Nobody's going to be.
There's nowhere to hide anymore.
Game.
Yeah.
So fun. I'm excited. Well, thanks you both for being here to chat with me today about this amazing episode. I can't wait to talk next week about the next episode because what was the title again?
This Civil War.
Civil War.
Yeah.
So it must. Okay, I don't know. I can't speculate.
So maybe I think it's because Sarah and Tyson will be partners, and so it's like a civil war. It's like they're war, but like they can't just throw each other in this week. So it's like a thing of like a battle between them of an argument because she's probably going to want to throw in Angela's team, and he's going to want to throw in Ben's team or something.
And then they're going to settle for Love Island.
But they're going to have to settle for something. Otherwise, probably they're going to have to go in. I bet you that's the twist if you can't decide, if you can't like agree. So they're good, and then it could end up being like it could end up being like a random other team if they can't agree.
What if something like that happened? Sorry, I just had a flash of Amanda and Zach not coming to an agreement, and then like they both getting forced down there. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I can see that happening. That's terrifying.
The only reason I can't see it happening is
Tyson will just give in.
Also, like, not even just Tyson. Like, nobody on this cast is as big of a dickhead as Zach.
Yes, exactly.
Zach is just the worst guy. Like, he's
the worst.
Actually doing that.
Yeah. You know what? I agree. None of them and neither of them. Sarah's still I can't even. I don't know. We'll see. She's pretty stubborn. Okay. And she's pretty mad, so I wouldn't. She could do anything, and I think like in that case, Tyson would just be like, "All right, fuck it, let's throw in David."
Like, put in David, put in Leo, like who cares? Just
but like I could see Sarah really like pushing her agenda and like not letting it go and like threatening basically if you don't do what I say, like we're both going in. Like I can see her doing that. She's so annoying.
Yeah, but I think he would know that she wouldn't actually follow through.
Yeah,
like if he
went to Rocks, does she not know that he goes to Rocks? So
he will go to Rocks.
He'd call her bluff.
Yeah, he will go down.
I could see him going down just to shut her up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
we'll see.
A scenario I don't want to see happen, but
I know
I do for like the drama of it all, but I don't because like that's scary. But,
yeah.
Well, thanks again for being here, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Please do us a big favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let us know in the comments what pairings are you excited to see. So you know that we want to see, loosely, I guess, Sarah and Tyson together. Has Ben been with Angela yet?
I think he has.
I thought he had.
Maybe.
But maybe not. Maybe not.
So
you don't know
that could also be something.
No, Ben has not been with Angela.
Because if that happens, true, like neither of them will want to throw that.
Yeah, no. Oh my God. So imagine though it becomes a stalemate, and like maybe one of them will win, and they can't take a shot at the other. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the civil war that we're seeing. It's like, okay, well, I can't go against you right now, and I can't go against your right-hand person. So who else do we like? They, have to come to an agreement for somebody else. So, okay, there's some options. So let us know in the comments what you think might happen, especially with the algorithm, the perfect algorithm. And let us know in the comments, and we'll talk about it in the comments section below. All right, good night, guys. Love you guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.